My 2025 has felt disastrous. Now, let's make this very clear. This is first world problems. But because of this, it's been fresh on my mind of why some things are working and some things are not. Creativity is the first responders to disasters and distractions, getting cut loose to survive the daily grind. Now, for those of us who use creativity daily, but even for those who use it in its simply form of just solving problems at work, I don't believe we can afford to sacrifice it. So today I want to share with you some tools that I have been and haven't been doing to stay productive, and hopefully by the end of the video, all these tools are able to help you tackle whatever problem you might face throughout the year. First step to understand is that problems and distractions are inevitable. Using your mind as the first step to continue creativity and productivity has to be a priority to make sure you are actually sustaining long-term results. Everything I'll be sharing in this video can be used long and short term. Fix your mind on the ultimate goal. Now, if you don't know what your ultimate goal is, if you do not have clarity on your why, I would tell you to go do that first, because that's going to make sure that these things are actually going to stick for you and it's not going to be a band-aid over the problem. Now that we know our why, it's important to know what that why looks like through a daily, weekly, monthly, or even quarterly timeline. Because if you're anything like me as an artist, my days are never the same. Every venue is different, the artists I work with are different, every song I produce is different, every song I write is different. So there's a lot of different problems on the daily that I have to solve and different priorities that come into the forefront depending on where I am. So being able to zoom out my timeline, even though maybe daily doesn't feel like I'm being super productive, zooming out allows me to really make sure that I'm on track with what the ultimate goal is and what I'm really trying to accomplish. Especially as artists, as creatives, it's so easy to be prisoners of the moment. So allowing yourself to be able to see what's actually going on rather than relying on how you're feeling is going to really help you down the line. And I am fully aware that all this stuff is easier said than done. We are human beings and we are sabotaging machines. So before we go on with anything, let's talk about the part of distraction that we actually can control. Number one, the simplest and what I find to be the most enjoyable is controlling your environment. Your environment plays such a huge role in you actually showing up and getting your work done. It's actually insane. Now, there's only so many days I can go with my office being messy or stuff all over my desk or my stuff not working how they're supposed to be. Now, you can call me weird, but I need the space to be warm and inviting and just feel like, I'm inspired. I want to get to work. And controlling your environment could be broader than most people think. It could be down to your equipment working well and not being too slow to capture ideas and your creativity. It could be the noise around you when you're trying to capture ideas, even down to the time of day that you're using to get those ideas out. These and many more can make a significant difference. You need a defined space that when you get in there, nothing else matters but creating the art that only you were made to create. For my creative needs, I love Mac because Mac just always works. I never have any problems. I don't have to be careful. Anytime I sit down and I get to my laptop, it does exactly what I need it to do. I know that I could probably find a cheaper solution somewhere else, but I want things to be easy. I don't want to use willpower to now do the things that I have on my mind. And so for you have to think about, are your tools slowing down your process? You know, there might be some tools that maybe they do slow down the process, but they bring you more joy, meaning more creativity. These are things you have to actually go over and assess yourself. You need to take time to look at the tools you're using, look at the space you're in, and any change you can make for the better, you got to do it. Take that time because it's going to be important. When things get tough, you need to know you have a space you can go to and that makes you feel comfortable enough to create. For those on the go or those who don't have a defined workspace, myself, I'm on the road a lot. So in my bag, I have everything I need to get everything that I would ever need creatively out. So it's not necessarily always the same tools I have at home, but I know that when I go to a hotel, when I go to a different venue, as long as I got a table to lie those things on, I can get those things done. So for you, it might be having something in your backpack, something on your phone, a different app, whatever it may be that helps you get to where you need to get to, even if you're not at home or even if you don't have a comfortable space. Maybe it might come down to a couple of apps on your phone that allow you to do what your laptop does when you can't carry that. Whatever it is, try to figure out what you might need if you need to capture those ideas out on the go as well. Note that this will take you time, but might actually be useless without the next step. Number two, my first defining moment in my creativity journey was releasing music every 2 weeks when I first decided I want to try to figure out how to do this full time. Not only because I finally started to share my music, but the idea of having to show up weekly and produce, mix, master, and then create, albeit crappy marketing content, but it was still tough for me anyways. Every single week was incredibly powerful to show me what the power of habits and showing up can actually do. The biggest thing I realized about myself at that time was that it would take me about 10 tracks to really find something that I loved enough to write over. So I knew that I had to create every single day because it was the only way for me to get enough track count to actually start to finally create something I loved. And sometimes it would take me going away and then coming back and being like, you know what? Finally, I wasn't feeling this yesterday, but I think I'm ready to write to this. I think I have a good idea for this. But it only was in the showing up daily. Sometimes I didn't feel the inspiration, but later it came when I came back to check my work. Great ideas come rarely from inspiration, but inspiration comes often from showing up and creating anyway. If not daily, we need to work and create often to make sure we're keeping our tools ready and our minds sharp so when the idea comes, we are ready to go. You gotta keep the faith that the ideas will come. And for those who keep working, they always do. You gotta remember that. Easy ways to control your daily creating is as simple as time blocking. If you are able to time block it the night before, and if you're able to show up to that daily as well, every day the same time, you're gonna see incredible results on that alone. Now, for those of us who have ever changed in schedules, aka kids, aka family, aka a changing hour at work, using the mornings, which usually generally don't change, is a great way to control the variety in your days. For my situation, I found that 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 to 5:30 works the best for me. That gives me about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get a good chunk of my day done. Gives me a nice dopamine hit knowing that I've actually finished something early in the morning. And another thing that I've found from my own anecdotal experience is that when I do those things early in the morning and you kind of get a start on the day, you feel good about it. So even any work I might do later on in the day always feels much easier because I'm not starting. I'm just continuing work that I started early in the morning. So it's even best for those who maybe you don't have 2.5 hours in the morning. I'd still recommend getting up half an hour, getting some of those things started. It's gonna give you a bit of a jolt of energy throughout the day, knowing that you've already started some of those habits. Disclaimer though, you wanna make sure you're getting enough sleep. You could do it for a few days, but after a while, the compounding effects of not being able to get enough sleep is gonna just ruin your creativity. So you have to make sure you tackle that first. We're actually talking about going to bed earlier to get up earlier, meaning you'll have an actual chance to get that work done in the morning with a clear mind. Another benefit of time blocking is that when you know that time is blocked off to get your most important stuff done, you go through your day with a lot less anxiety, a lot less weight on your shoulders. So it's allowing you to enjoy your time away from your creativity better, to be able to show up better for your work as well. And number 3, this is the most important thing I want to say in this video, is that none of this will work all the time. And often this will be an imperfect plan. You want to think of all of these tools as part of your strategy rather than constructing the perfect plan. There may be times where your strategy goes all by the books, and then sometimes you got to throw that book out and you got to put all your chips in to get whatever you need to get done. Your strategy should be changing and ever evolving depending on your situation. Distractions are distractions because they are uncontrollable inconveniences. So the more that we set up our situations to attack these things and expect that these things will happen, the better even mentally we are to actually go up against them. So you know you got a big day tomorrow. Maybe put your phone outside your room because you got to get a little bit of sleep. Or maybe that big day tomorrow is actually going to be too much for you to get your stuff done in the morning. So maybe get it done in the evening before you go to bed. And there's sometimes that rest will do us more than just getting the work done to say it's done. Take your rest, get up in the morning and get things done. We can't change what happens around us, but how we use and share our creativity is still our responsibility. Don't cheat the world. Don't cheat your community of what you have to offer. I want you to comment on winning down below. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You are awesome. Go create, be great. Peace.